Hi guys, it's 7:25 in the morning. Good morning. And it's the 16th of July 2025 and the first day of my retirement. That's why I'm making this video. Random walk, random talk on Red Dot Rants, the comedy and tragedy of living in Singapore. Now I'm walking along this canal that joins the Sungai Serangoon with Punggol Waterway. I've just left Punggol Waterway. Walk from my home along Edgefield Plains, and I walked past two schools which were seeing traffic jams, all these parents dropping off their children. So many people own cars in this country. It must be very rich, right? Okay, anyway, I'll be walking to the beach, and for the rest of the day I've got everything lined up, so it's not going to be a boring retirement not knowing what to do. I've got lots to do when I'm not working, in case some of you are wondering. Okay, this morning as I was coming out, I went through my Facebook and I saw a video. Andrew Xiao was talking about his new job as an ATOS officer. He's 55 years old, I think, and I'm 61. I'm a bit older than him. And this age is not too bad for retirement, provided that you have enough money to see you through. Unfortunately, I may not have enough, so I'll just be sort of semi-retired, working a couple of days a week. Just take a 1.5 month kind of holiday, and then after that I'll be starting work again, but without being an employer and working for people, just casually working, if you can afford to do that. If I can afford to do that. Alright, Andrew Xiao, some people are saying that he is underemployed. He should be back in MediaCorp and all that. No, I don't think so. If I were Andrew Xiao, I would also be happy as an ATOS officer. Many people have received their CDC vouchers. Let's talk a bit about CDC vouchers. And many people are cheering for it. You know, they're so thankful for the CDC vouchers. And if you remember, Dr. Tan Cheng Bock, PSP, at one of his election rallies, he said something about CDC vouchers. Xia sui. Actually, I agree with him. CDC vouchers are really xia sui, but while people cheered for him during that election rally, they actually don't agree with him. As you can see, people are so happy about receiving their CDC vouchers. They are too shallow and too myopic to think about the implications of such handouts. So for PSP, he has been a complete wipeout from Parliament. Previously, they had 2 NCMPs there, and many people have given their theories, and one of them is of course the independent candidate at Joo Chiat, Jeremy Tan, I think that's his name. Yeah, Jeremy Tan. He said something about xenophobia, about them projecting this image of xenophobia. I don't think so. It's not that. Nothing to do with xenophobia. It's just that before people like Leong Man Wai, Hazel Phua got into Parliament, people were having all these expectations. But once they saw Leong Man Wai's tenacity, they started to get worried. People may say that they want someone to speak up for them in Parliament, right? They may say that. They may complain a lot about the ruling party. But once you get a person with such tenacity as Leong Man Wai, people get worried. Right? They complain a lot, but they are also afraid of rocking the boat too much. They are afraid of rocking the boat too much. And unfortunately, Leong Man Wai appeared to be doing that. Now, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. PSP is the kind of opposition party that I would like to see in Parliament, because only through actions like Leong Man Wai's will you be able to see some real change. Now, you just complain, but you don't really want change, or you're afraid of change actually, then nothing's going to change. So the Workers' Party is not my favorite opposition party. It's good to have them in Parliament, but they are not my favorite because they don't hit hard enough. Alright, if we have PSP, if we got Dr. Chee Soon Juan in Parliament, I think we've already got enough. We already got enough. We don't need that many Workers' Party members who don't do that much, who don't really ask the important questions and repeat those questions when they are not answered, as in Leong Man Wai's case, only to get a scolding from you know who. So that's the case, and I think Dr. Tan Cheng Bock has been a bit naive to believe that people really want him to speak out for them. Well, these people, they love their CDC vouchers, and then you're saying xia sui. What are they going to think? You know, for me, I don't care because I'm not a politician. I don't have to win votes, and I would never ever serve all these kiasu, kiasi, genpeng people. But for the politicians, they have to pander to these people. So bringing out this word xia sui, you may get a lot of cheers during the election rally, but people are not going to vote for you. Period. Alright, the sun has risen. That's Pulau Ubin, and over here that's Coney Island. That's an iguana swimming in the water, and I'll be continuing on this path all the way to Punggol Jetty. I'm going to share with you two dreams that I had last night. Dream number one. This very interesting new citizen from China approached me and said that he wanted to start a business. So he opened a cake shop and asked me to run it for him. So in my dream, I set up a cake shop in a prime location, very expensive rental, but not much business because there are cake shops everywhere. Cost of materials and all that were high, and there was no profit. But no issue. My boss, the Chinaman, gave me a stack of his credit cards. All I had to do was to swipe the credit cards. Right? I keep swiping the credit cards, and he would keep settling the bills in China using his RMB from some unknown source. Now, normally if you buy a piece of property and then you don't declare a lot of income, the government may come after you. But if you're just settling credit card bills, they're usually quite okay with that. They don't care about where the money you're using to settle the credit card bills come from. So all that money ends up in that cake shop here in Singapore. And he comes back and he withdraws the money. So he settles the credit card bills with RMB, and then he withdraws SGD over here. That's my first dream. It's just a dream. I'm not accusing anybody. And dream number two, about another guy who came and bought a flat for $700,000. So for $700,000 he bought a flat. And a few years later, the value of that property increased to $750,000. And he looked for a buyer. And he told the buyer, the market value is $750,000, but I'm going to sell to you for only $700,000. There's a $50,000 discount. The buyer, of course, agreed to it. But that is the yin he tong. Alright, the hidden contract. Okay, that's the yin he tong. There's a yang he tong. Okay, so in China they're very well known for calling for having two contracts, one the yin he tong and one yang he tong, yin yang he tong. So that's the yin he tong. The yang he tong is different. It would say that the buyer bought the piece of property from the seller for $1 million on paper. Now the buyer did not have to come up with the $300,000. It's actually the seller's money, right pocket into left pocket, so that on paper it looks as if the transaction has gone through for a value of $1 million, but actually it's only $700,000 from the buyer. Again, that's just a dream. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. So I hope we can all learn something from these dreams. But unfortunately, even though many people are aware that such dreams sometimes do come true in real life, they don't really care. They know that it's wrong. They know that it's xia sui. But for the sake of the money, they don't care. That's the situation that we are facing in this country now. People don't care about right or wrong anymore. They only care about whether it benefits me. Quite sad, right? Can you hear the helicopter thundering above? Another rehearsal for NDP. Yes, National Day is coming. And for those of you who remember, I used to do NDP, National Day Pendaki, climb a mountain in Indonesia every National Day. And then after that, wave our flag from the summit. After Kerinci, I think it was 2 years back, I've stopped doing that. Wow. Oh, it's not a helicopter. Okay, it's not a helicopter, that's actually a bumboat. Got mistaken. Anyway, NDP is still coming. And the rehearsals are still going on. But I've stopped doing my NDP, and that is climbing a mountain and bringing the flag up to the summit. I'm still climbing, but I won't be bringing the flag up because Singaporeans, they may celebrate National Day one way or another. Actually, on that day, many people travel out of the country. They don't really celebrate. And I think we can't really celebrate when we see all these people who are voicing their opinions being POFMA'd. We see all these exiles in the form of Lee Hsien Yang and all that. With all these things happening, I feel that as a Singaporean who cares about this country, I cannot celebrate National Day with all these things happening around me. So in future, I'm going to do more of these random walks and talks. I'm not going to put in as much effort as I did previously because the response to my channel, the results from GE 2025 are very telling the kind of mentality that the majority here are having, and I don't know whether the majority here will soon be locally born Singaporeans or the new citizens. There'll be more new citizens in future for sure. Okay, we're seeing all the crowding, we're seeing all the greenery being destroyed and then replaced by flats, apartments, buildings, some of which cost over $1 million. And seems that people make a bit of noise, but they are not really that concerned. They don't want any change. Sure, the values of these properties are going to make life very difficult for the next generation, for the younger generation. But are you going to do anything about it? Or are you just secretly hoping that you are the holder of the keys to this $1 million flat, HDB flat? Okay, so that's about all. I'll be focusing more on my other channels, my travel channel, and the other one is about history and ancient wisdom. I'll be focusing more on these channels going forward. And Red Dot Rants, well, occasionally I may pop in with another random walk and random talk. So that's all I have for you today from this video. And I'll be going off for my breakfast and then to the library later. See you again in the next video. Bye.